Hi children, microorganisms, friend and foe, part 2. Increasing soil fertility. Soil has to get renewed, rejuvenated. Because plants grow on soil, soil keeps losing its fertility. So soil has to be rejuvenated. How does it happen? This is what we call as soil fertility. One is, you have a picture here of lightning. When lightning happens in the sky, nitrogen in the atmosphere gets fixed in the soil. It's a very interesting aspect. On a rainy night, especially when the monsoon starts, you see a lot of lightning. As lightning takes place, the natural activity of nitrogen in the air getting fixed in the soil starts. Nitrates and nitrates, nitrogen gets converted into nitrates and nitrates. There is rain, it gets dissolved in rain, the water falls on the ground, and the nitrates and nitrites, they are the compounds of nitrogen, they get fixed in the soil. So whenever there is lightning, I look at lightning, I get amazed. In the meanwhile, I also feel, oh, now it is time, nature is fixing nitrogen in the soil. See here, bacteria that fix nitrogen and increase the fertility of soil. These are useful bacteria now. Useful bacteria. The bacteria fix nitrogen, maybe they are in the root nodules, they too fix nitrogen. And nitrogen from one compound form to the other, they switch over because of the activities of the bacteria. Cleaning the environment. We too have to play a vital role in cleaning the environment. How does it happen in nature? Let us see. What we do is human effort. That's the second aspect. What does nature do? How does it happen in nature? Here is an experiment. Dig a pit. Put all the plants, vegetables and fruits into that pit. Whatever waste you have, you put them into that pit. Now, put a little of soil above and leave it for a few days. What happens? The organic matter that you have put there in the form of animal waste and plants, that will undergo a conversion. You are converting the waste into manure. You are aiding nature. You are helping nature. It's a big job. Nature would have done in its own course, but we are helping nature to fasten the process, to hurry it up. This experiment you can control, you can conduct on your own. Now here, into this you should not put polythene bags, empty glass bottles, broken plastic toys. These are all made of plastic. Plastic won't undergo any decay. It takes 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, sometimes even 500 years. Plastics, depending on the quality, they remain in nature for a very long time. That's why we say plastic products are a poison to nature. You cannot promote the use of plastics. You should try to minimize the use of plastic. We should aid nature in fixing nitrogen and improving the quality of the soil. We should not go against nature. You can repeat the process what nature does and help it. Polythene bags, empty glass bottles, broken plastic toys do not decay. An important concept you should remember. Microbes cannot act on them. Now when does decay take place? Decay takes place only when microbes act on them. A dead rat, if you throw The dead rat won't be there after a few days. It would have become one with the soil. How did it happen? It happened because of the activity of microbes, microorganisms. These microorganisms are useful microorganisms. Microorganisms decompose dead organic matter. They decompose. They break complex compound chemicals into simpler ones. That's what we call as decomposing activity. Next, harmful microorganisms. We studied about useful organisms. Let us see the other side now. Harmful. In the first video we dealt in detail. Here we are making a gist out of it. Harmful microorganisms are called as pathogens. Pathogens is the word. When doctors use pathogens, or when you go to a hospital, you see pathogen word used here and there. It means harmful microorganisms. They cause diseases in plants, animals and humans. Most of the diseases we suffer from are all because of these pathogens, these harmful bacteria. What do? They spoil our food. If you prepare food and keep on a summer day, your guests come at 6 o'clock in the evening. Instead of coming at 12 o'clock, they turn up at 6 o'clock. Can you feed them with the same food? Doubtful. Before you feed, you have to check whether the quality is good or not. You smell it. You take a spoonful of it and put it in the mouth and see whether it has undergone any change. If you get into any doubt, you keep it aside and prepare again. Who has done it? Who spoiled your food? It is the pathogens. So you have to take a lot of care. If you have prepared sambar or something, you don't want to throw it because the guest did not turn up. You should cool it down, keep it in the fridge, and just after they come, take it out, again boil it, and you can feed them. You have to take the needed measures to preserve the food. Let us see in what all ways it can be done and everything. Clothing. Some of your clothes which you don't use, if you just put it in a trunk and lock it, when you take them out after 1 year, they may be smelling very bad. You have to wash them again. And sometimes you find even spores collected on them. You get some powdery form getting collected. If you have a leather jacket, you don't wear, put it in a trunk and keep, definitely in the rainy season, it will get spoiled. So you have to take out that jacket now and then, dry it, clean it wipe it with a cloth, use it for a day or two, again dry it, keep it inside. You have to take measures. Now, clothing. Leather, we spoke of both. They enter our body. How do they come in there? Through the air, water and food. So these are the agents, air, water and food. They are the agents through which they enter in. After boiling the milk, cooling down, you have to keep it closed properly. If you keep it open, what happens? Through the air, spores may come and fall. Those spores may give birth to, or from the spores, the pathogens may come out. They multiply because lactose sugar is there in plenty. They have enough food, so they multiply. When they start multiplying, definitely the milk will get spoiled. Milk will turn sour. But will it become buttermilk? May not be, because it is the pathogens. Pathogens won't get you buttermilk or curd. They spoil milk. If you take a spoon of milk and put in the mouth, feel, oh, it's spoiled. I have to Pour it down the drain now. So after heating it, boiling it, cool it down. Now you have to keep it in the refrigerator. You have to take a lot of care. You have to keep it closed. If you have cooled it down, then definitely after it cools down, you put a plate on it and keep it closed. Measures have to be taken. Any food item you prepare in the kitchen has to be kept closed properly. You can't keep it open. Some have the habit of keeping a spoon, long spoon there, and then closing with the plate. You have left space there. You have to remove those spoons and then close it properly and keep it aside. These are the simple measures that we can take to see that food remains safe in spite of long hours duration. So air, water or food. Sometimes we come home in the evening and all of a sudden we get upset. We get disturbed. There will be some sort of uneasy activity in the stomach. You sit for reading, you can't read. You want to write, you can't. You want to be active, you cannot. Go and lie down, it doesn't get solved. What's all it? Because of the poor food quality that you have consumed. Germs have entered in. Pathogens have entered in. In case they are more in number than the good bacteria inside, they win the war. They win the war. So now you have to drink lot of buttermilk. You have to drink water. You may not try to take any food that night. You take all measures, many measures, and you see that your system is once again all right. Direct contact with an infected person. Say, especially when somebody is suffering from a communicable disease. What are communicable diseases? Diseases that spread from person to person through air, water or contact by way of clothes or anything. Now, in such cases, we may contract the disease. We may contract due to contact. We get it. We suffer. So, we have to be very careful. Now here, this pure water in the river, people have thrown lot of waste into it. Maybe flowers are there, or waste items like plastic, that, this, unused, eaten plates, all these are thrown. And here you see froth too, froth, nore, froth. Because carbon dioxide gets produced there when the reaction goes on. And water gets spoilt. The pure water of the river has been spoiled by the humans. And a river dies. In the course of many years, a river which had pure water earlier may start dying. Lots of rivers in the world have died because of pathogens. Why pathogens? Because of human activity. Okay. Plastic waste there. See, heaps of plastic. The plastic has to be recycled. Plastic, if it gets into nature, it turns to be a poison. In case cows eat plastic, flimsy plastic, thin bags and all, they go and get stuck in the intestine, and ultimately the cow will not be able to survive. It will have a miserable death. And we are the cause. Those who have thrown such plastic bags there, we are the cause. We have to take care. Okay, next. Here you see cheese. The piece of cheese has been kept aside for the child who comes from the school. He will eat. Mother has forgotten to close it. Or in the roadside shop, the food is there, no one closes it. He is busy with the service. He doesn't keep it closed. Actually, what should he do? He has to keep cheese in closed glass chambers. Only when it's required, you should take out, immediately close it again. You see? House flies on it. House flies. The house flies go and sit in the rubbish in the drain there. From there, they get back to the cakes. From the cakes again, they go there. Some child may be passing stools, fecal matter. It goes and sits and on that fecal matter. Again it gets back, sits on the cake. It keeps moving to and fro. And you go and pay and purchase that piece of cake, you eat it and come back home with an uneasy stomach. If somebody asks, I have not done anything, I have not eaten anything, I do not know what happened. This is what has happened. No one takes care. In most of the shops, people are unaware of the problems they suffer from, these germs, pathogens. Any amount of care we take to see that the pathogens are kept away is short of the requirements. Short of the requirement. When a person, see, what are communicable diseases here? Cholera. It comes from the houseflies. Cholera comes because of the houseflies. Mainly whenever jatras are there, cholera will be in the rice. Cholera will be on the rice. Cold. You sit with somebody who has cold, you too get it. How do you get it? The virus attacks you. Who is the agent? Air is the agent. Through the air, you breathe in the same air that he gives out. He expires. You inspire the same air. And the virus enter in. You are all right at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By 5 o'clock you start sneezing. Because these viruses that enter the body, they double up very fast. Their numbers go on multiplying. A few hundred viruses that enter in will be in millions after a few hours. They multiply very fast. That too, when they get host cells, they enter in, they get enough food, and it is the RNA material that has to replicate. It replicates, and the host cell will burst open, and in lakhs the virus come out. In lakhs. And they go and attack new cells. So we have to take lot of care as regards our personal health is concerned, and we should have concern about the health of others too. So whenever you have to sneeze, how should you? Take out your hanky and place it on your mouth, cover it well and sneeze it to a side. Otherwise, if you don't get the hanky, sneeze won't wait for you. So what should you do? Sneeze into your sleeves. Hold your sleeves. This is what you call as sleeves. Against your mouth and sneeze. The virus should not go and fall on somebody. The tiny droplets that come out of your mouth will be carrying the virus in large numbers. And it's a disgraceful activity. You should not do. How many people will feel very awkward that situation? You spit on them, or you sneeze on them, or you keep on coughing. If you keep on getting cough, just walk off. Walk off. Don't sit there. After everything settles down, you come and take position. Some insects, when a person suffering from cold sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread in the air. See, the very intention of this lesson, one may be knowing about microgerms, microbes, microorganisms. The second is, you should be a good citizen. You should have a concern for the health of others. Some insects and animals are carriers of disease-causing microbes. Even insects, animals, housefly, Anopheles mosquito female, it brings malaria. Aedes mosquito, female, it brings you dengue. Whenever it bites you, it injects dengue bacteria into your body in case the mosquito is infected. It need not be that all mosquitoes are carrying the germs. They just bite. They like to suck your blood. But if the mosquito is carrying the disease, then it is almost certain that you contract the disease. Anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by bacterium, anthrax. Animals suffer. You have to take the animal to a veterinarian doctor, a veterinarian, a vet. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. If the cattle get foot and mouth disease, it should be foot and mouth disease, not food. Foot and mouth disease. Their hooves start swelling. They cannot walk. They will not be able to eat because the jaws will be swelling. The teeth will be paining. So it will not be able to eat grass at all. Foot and mouth disease. So read it as FOOT. Correct it. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. A virus causes it. It spreads. So animals which are suffering from foot and mouth disease will have to be separated from the rest of the herd. They have to be kept in a separate block. In dairies, they do it. If you tie the animal there itself, all the other 100 or 150 cows will get the same disease overnight. Plant diseases, use of certain chemicals can be controlled. They can control. See, ladies' finger plants in a farm. If some plants get that white powder on them because of the germs attacking, they multiply. You have to immediately remove that plant or part of that plant which is infected. If you don't remove, leave like that, in a week the entire farm will get infected with the disease. Or organic insecticides you have to use and spray them to see that these virus or fungi, they die. Next. How to prevent the spread of communicable diseases? Symbolically, you have a picture here. A girl is sitting on the bed, she is studying. The bed has been covered with mosquito curtain. If you love your daughter or son or your brother or sister, get a mosquito net for her so that she can sit inside and learn well, study well, or play with her toys, no problem, and child is kept safe from mosquitoes. So it is symbolic of the entire program here. You can't show your love for her just by getting all kinds of sweets. You arrange for her safety from diseases. So what are the aspects? How to prevent spread of communicable diseases in this society? Some have been given. You can add some more later. Keep the food covered. Very important. Very simple. Need not spend anything. Keep the food covered always. In case it's very hot, you want to cool down, leave it for a few minutes. Once the temperature has come down, immediately keep it closed. You can keep all the members of the house safe, away from diseases. Keep a handkerchief on the nose and mouth while sneezing. We have discussed. Keep distance from infected persons. Don't sit very close. Don't bring your heads close. Keep distance. That's what the health authorities say in these days of coronavirus. Avoid consuming uncovered food items when you go outside. Junk food or whatever it be outside, if they have not covered properly, don't consume that food. Do not eat water collected anywhere. Collected water, do not eat anything made out of that. or drink that water. Maybe in coolers, tires, see old tires, they would have been kept in a place and water gets collected inside and that becomes a mosquito breeding ground. Actually, they should see that water doesn't collect like that. Flower pots, even in flower pots, sometimes water gets collected. Or broken pieces of pots kept outside, they get filled with water. No one is worried. We have to take care of all such spots where water gets stagnant. Keep your surroundings clean and dry. Surroundings of your house, keep them clean and dry. Keep going round once in a way and see any such possibility and keep them clean and dry. Keep that area. Maintain personal hygiene. Take bath once in the morning, once in the evening, twice a day. Keep your body very, very clean. And good sanitary habits. Using the toilet, keeping the toilet clean, or after coming out of the toilet, washing your hands with soap. If you just put soap and wash it with water, it's not enough. After apply soap, at least for 30 to 40 seconds, the soap should be there. With the oil that is there on the skin going away, it will take away the bacteria too. They get stuck to oil, no? The virus, bacteria. So keep your body very clean. Drink boiled water. Either you cool it down or in a small drum you can keep boiled water. It will cool on its own. Whenever you need, you can pour water from that and drink. But in these corona days, it's better you drink lukewarm water. Water which you can sustain. It should be hot. This part of the body, the gullet part, it should get soaked in hot water. So these germs which have got collected there, they die in hot water and they cannot enter the lungs. They were on their way to enter in and you are killing them. Once in an hour or two, you go on drinking a gulp of hot water. It rejuvenates your vigor too. Hot water rejuvenates you. In the meanwhile, you will be very safe. Drink boiled water. Get vaccinated against the possible diseases. Now polio, we make the child get treated with polio drops. Or smallpox, we get injected, vaccinated. But nowadays, the vaccine is not being used because there are no cases of smallpox anywhere. Use mosquito net or repellents. A variety of repellents are there in the market. Use repellents. But sometimes you may be allergic to repellents. All these you have to study on your own. Whenever you have a repellent, first of all you apply it over a part of the skin or to only one hand, you try it and see within the next 30 minutes. If you don't develop any allergy to it, it's clear, you can use. All are not the same. Our constitution differs from person to person. Our body constitution differs. Spray insecticides and control breeding of mosquitoes. All breeding grounds. You spray insecticides and see that mosquitoes do not breed there. Consume properly boiled food. Food has to be properly boiled. Uncooked food is not the right thing to consume. Cook properly. Fruits are different. Fruits are different. If you cook them, you lose the vitamins. Some of the vegetables too, you have to eat them fresh. Otherwise, you lose the nutritive ingredients that are there in that particular vegetable. That is different. In general, proper cooking has to be done before you consume the food. Next. Food poisoning. We have to add a note on that too. What is food poisoning? Is it necessary that somebody should add poison, then only it is food poisoning? No, that is no doubt, that's food poisoning. But in general, it has a very widespread meaning. Due to consumption of food spoilt by microorganisms. Food poisoning is due to consumption of food spoilt by microorganisms. Microorganisms spoil the food. In the morning you try food of the previous day, it is spoilt. But still you don't feel like throwing it away. You eat. Now this is food poisoning. The germs have turned food into a poison. You may not die, but food poisoning will spoil your constitution. When you know food is not of quality, don't eat. Don't eat. They grow on our food. Germs enter, they grow, they multiply and produce toxic substances. What is toxic? Poisonous substances. Consumption of poisonous food may result in serious illness and even death. It all depends to what extent food has got spoiled. Fungus attack on bread renders it poisonous. When you get bread, even if you feel the cover is torn, check, ask him whether it's fresh or you are getting some old stock. Clarify, it's a warning to him. May not be old stuff, but even then, when the bakery wala understands, oh, my customers are very much aware of these things, they keep questioning, if something happens to my customers by way of poor health, then they will come and question me. They may stop all business in my bakery and switch over to another bakery. You have to keep warning. You have to put them on their heels. See, mangoes decay after a few days. You bring a kg of mangoes. They have got spoiled. But you don't feel like throwing them. Oh, I have paid 180 rupees. How shall I throw? You start cutting this side, cutting that side, finding out each and every small piece which you feel has not been spoiled. You eat. But internally, the tissue is one and the same. The juice will be flowing. The bacteria would have entered other areas too. The fruit might not have spoiled still visually, but already the attack might have started. Germs might have entered. You have to be very, very careful. One should not be stingy here. But pickles doesn't spoil for a long time. Pickles, you can keep it over 6 months, sometimes 1 year. How is that pickle stands? We use salt to preserve pickles. Salt kills bacteria. The best example is sea water. Have you found sea water smelling anywhere? You go to the beach, you play in the sea, take bath in the sea. It will be as fresh as ever because the salt in the sea water won't allow any bacteria or germs to breed there. 3/4 of the world is covered by water. In case these oceans had got polluted, it should have smelled everywhere. Smelt. The smell is not there. Oceans kill germs. That's why people go and take bath in sea water, say, in case I have any infection, skin infection, I get cured. People in coastal areas, they go time and again and take bath in the sea water. It cures diseases of the skin, they say. So, pickles doesn't spoil because you have put salts into it. The mangoes you cut and put in pickles, they too would have been boiled in salt water. They keep them in the salt water. There are different methodologies. different methodologies. And even the pickles, you put it in bottles which have been washed with boiled water, keep it in the sun, you see all the germs are removed, then put fresh pickles into that and you make the lid airtight. Airtight. If necessary, one more cloth you put there and you keep it in a place where there is warmth. Where there is warmth. Close to the fireplace you keep, because chances that pickles get spoiled will be the minimum. But what to do? In present day houses we don't have ovens. In old houses we had fire ovens. The entire kitchen used to be very warm. How to preserve food? Now let us see various methods of preserving food. 1. Add preservative chemicals. We get in the market harmless preservatives. You have to check. You have to read the label. If necessary, check on the internet. Then only you use. Because we should have first-hand knowledge. Sodium benzoate. It's a preservative. You get it in the market. And how much should be added? Again, that too you should get educated. Find out. Internet will tell you, or even on the outer cardboard cover, the details might have been given. Check. Sodium metabisulfite salt. See, in this tin it's there. Sodium metabisulfite. You add a little bit of sodium metabisulfate, then the pickles will not get spoilt. Properly it has to be mixed while making the pickles. Jams. Salt too is a good preservative. Jams and squashes are preserved this way. Jams and squashes are preserved this way. Here you see, these are yeast cells. What you use to make dough or batter. For bhatura you need batter. Batter will be thick, all chapatis. To prepare chapatis you make the batter and make it into a ball and keep it aside. Sometimes you put a cloth over it, wet cloth or something, and leave it for 2 hours. Then it is ready to make chapatis. In those 2 hours, lot of chemical activity would have taken place. It's a necessity. You can't make batter and immediately start preparing chapatis. Now all these details I told you, collect from the elderly people in the house. They know a lot. Discuss with them. Put a number of questions. They may not be able to give you answers from the scientific angle, but prevalent methods you come to know. How do they prevent spoiling of food? You come to know. Try to collect as much detail as possible. You become wise then. We move to the next. Preservation by common salt. All of you should understand and listen. Preservation by common salt. We understood, we checked, you can preserve meat and fish for a long time by putting it in salt. To preserve amla, mangoes, tamarind, you use salt. A raw mango, if you want to preserve for a few days, not many days, for about 15 days, cut it into pieces, make small pieces, edible pieces, put it in salt. Then they shrink in size, give out water, and they will be ready for being used. A simple way of preparing something which you can have as a side item while eating curd rice or anything. Okay, so salt plays a vital role. Preservation by sugar. Say we bring jam. Jams are very sweet. One is they want to make it sweet for you. Second thing, by adding sugar, you are preventing attack of germs. Jams, jellies and squashes are preserved in sugar. Sugar inhibits the growth of bacteria. Jalebis you prepare, you keep the jalebis for 4 to 5 days. It doesn't get spoiled. Why? Jalebis are cooked in oil. They fry in oil, no? They fry in oil. After frying in oil, they put it in sugar solution. So as you fried them in oil, not frying, you just bake in oil. All the germs die. Now you put in sugar solution and take it out. So you are doubly sure. From 2 angles you have made yourself sure to see that the food doesn't spoil. Actually the jalebis will be more tasty after 1 or 2 days because it would have absorbed sugar very well. Preservation by oil and vinegar. Putting in oil, that too preserves. In olden days, dead bodies, if they wanted to preserve for some days, they used to put it in oil. Vinegar too, acetic acid. It won't allow the germs to thrive. Prevents spoilage of pickles. Pickles sometimes they smell because of the acetic acid there or vinegar. They would have added. Vegetables, fruits, meat and fish. See, jams and jellies here, they are in sugar solution. The germs would have been driven away. Then they put it in the jam or jelly, they put it in the bottle and put the tight lid. So even when you use a jam in the house, you should not keep it open for an hour or a whole day. No one caring about. As soon as you take out the required jam, your job is to close the lid, keep it tight. Use, immediately keep it tight. Somebody else needs the service. Let him open it again, no problem. But don't keep it open. Heat and cold treatments. So this is the third one. And this is the fifth one. Heat and cold treatments. Boiling milk before storing. Simple. You boil milk before you store it. You cannot store milk without boiling. Within hours, milk will get spoiled. Low temperature in the refrigerators too inhibits the growth of bacteria. Low temperature. You take the vegetables, some vegetables get spoiled. So what do? You keep in the low temperature zone in the refrigerator. The low temperature won't allow the bacteria or microbes to multiply. So the food will be safe. In case electricity fails, you have to take care. One whole night if you don't have electricity, you have to take special care to see that food is not spoiled. You have to check again. Pasteurization, heating to 70 degrees. See, boiling milk doesn't mean it has to keep boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. Keep it in sim, 70 degrees sim. Not a very high temperature, not a low temperature. Keeping it in sim, 65 degrees to 70 degrees range is the right temperature to pasteurize milk. If you boil milk for a long time, you may lose some of the nutrients. Say in some houses, after they cook milk, boil it, it almost reaches high temperature, they put off the fire. They just leave it there for some time. The temperature comes down and it's pasteurization that takes place now. Not a low temperature, not a high temperature. That's the temperature at which the milk will remain very, very safe. It will cool down slowly. Next. Rhizobium, nitrogen fixation now. Rhizobium fixes nitrogen in legumes. What are legumes? Legumes are plants with root nodules. Here you have a root system. You see the nodules here? Everywhere you have nodules. What are these nodules? They are rhizobium nodules. They are root nodules full of a bacteria called as rhizobium. Bacteria called as rhizobium. What is their job? They fix the free nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. They get collected here. Once the plant has borne fruits, you cut it. In the case of such plants, the root system you should leave in the soil. You should not take it out. It undergoes decay. The nutrients here, nitrogen compounds, they get released to the soil. The soil becomes rich. All pulses, they have root nodules. That's the reason why we grow pulses after a cereal crop. You grow rice or wheat. After rice or wheat, you grow some pulses. Again after pulses, you get back to cereals. It is alteration of crops. You alter them one after the other. So every time you have the pulses, you are enriching the soil too. You get a crop, no doubt, harvest. In the meanwhile, you are enriching the crop. You should not leave your field barren. Some may say in summer, what can we grow? We don't get any water. All right, you throw some seeds of pulses. Not with the hope of getting a crop, but at least let the plants grow to some extent, and root nodules, let them enrich your soil. So some grains have got spoiled. Take out those grains, keep them in a bottle and throw them all over your field. In that period when you do not grow anything, with at least 1 or 2 rains what it gets, they grow. So root nodules. Let's continue now. Rhizobium fixes nitrogen in legumes. Legumes are pulses. All pulses are legumes. Remember, all pulses are legumes. Pulses. Beans and peas, we have taken the examples. See, look at beans here. Beans is a healthy food for the reason it has nitrogen in it. More of nitrogen. Beans. It's a pulse. Here you have peas. Pulses. For a healthy body, you need cereals, you get carbohydrates, you need pulses. So usually morning breakfast, people get idlis ready every day or dosas ready. They are made of pulses. So it becomes a healthy diet then. In the afternoon you may have wheat or rice. In the morning you have pulses. Rhizobium lives in root nodules. Each root nodule has billions of rhizobium bacteria. They are useful bacteria. They are our friends. They are not pathogens. They don't cause any disease. Relationship between rhizobium and legume. This relationship, why the rhizobium you find in the root nodules? Very interesting. Rhizobium bacteria, they need a host. They can't live in the soil like that. They need a host. They enter the body of the pulse plant, go into the root system, and every joint part, it starts swelling, they multiply. Rhizobium bacteria multiply. They got a rent-free house. A rent-free house to live. What does the plant get? Plant gets nitrogen. The nitrogen they require is sought from the rhizobium bacteria that live in the root nodules. Mutual help. The rhizobium helps the plant and the plant helps rhizobium. Mutually they help each other. This is what you call as symbiosis. Two living beings have a living relationship here. Each one helps the other and they feel meaning in life only when they stay together. One cannot live without the other. Symbiotic relationship. See, these crabs are carried by sea anemones. Crabs carry sea anemones on their shell. So sea anemones usually grow on a rock or someplace, they can't move. Now sea anemones get free travel. Wherever the crab goes, sea anemones are carried. Ticketless travel. What does the crab get in return? Lots of aquatic foes are there, animals, which may cause problem. When they come near the crab, these sea anemones with their long tentacles, they catch hold of them and eat. So they will not be able to trouble the crab. The crab gets protection. Sea anemone gets shelter. So sea anemone and crab, they help each other mutually. You call it as symbiosis. Let's move ahead. Nitrogen gets fixed due to lightning. So whenever there is lightning, remember nitrogen is getting fixed. Time has come, nitrates and nitrates get formed, they get dissolved in water and they get into soil, and soil becomes fertile, soil turns rich. Nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. Don't be under the impression because nitrogen gets fixed in the soil, quantum of nitrogen in the atmosphere gets reduced. No. When the plant dies, again nitrogen gets released to the atmosphere. It is a cycle. It is a nitrogen cycle. Next. You have the nitrogen fixation cycle here. Let us see in a nutshell. See, atmospheric nitrogen, we will start here. To a tune of 79%, you have nitrogen in the atmosphere. Rest is oxygen and carbon dioxide in traces. From there, come here, nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae, they too fix atmospheric nitrogen. Blue-green algae you find in water. See, this is fixing job. From here, bacteria in turn fix nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds. So, soil becomes rich in nitrogen because of the bacteria. Now, compounds of nitrogen are in the soil now because of the efforts of rhizobium and nitrogen fixing bacteria. Now, bacteria turn compounds of nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. There are bacteria in the soil which act on these nitrogenous compounds and keep them getting released to the sky, atmosphere. It goes back, gets into the atmosphere. Now let us see the inner part. Lightning fixes nitrogen. Another way, natural way of nitrogen getting fixed. Then here, uptake by plants. All the billions of plants, they keep on drawing nitrogen either through root nodules if they are pulses, legumes, or they draw it from whatever has been fixed already by these nitrogenous bacteria because soil has them. Now these plants are eaten by animals and these animals, they die. These animals excrete urine. From the urine, nitrogen again gets back to the soil. It has consumed through plants. Urine is expelled. Again urine gets into the soil. Urea. Urine is actually urea dissolved in water. Nitrogenous waste from excretion and death. One is by excretion, the other is by death of animals. Then here, that we have covered. See, it is a cycle ultimately. Nitrogen is in the atmosphere, it gets fixed, plants use, from plants animals use, again it gets back into the soil, from the soil even free nitrogen gets released into the sky by the action of different kinds of bacteria. It's all a balance. Ultimately, nature sees that everything stays intact. Thank you.